Okay, so coaching and mentoring and how to better the athletes within coaching and mentoring. It's a topic that actually has been quite a big topic within the bigger picture of commissions of the International Olympic Committee, International Paralympic Committee. Recently, actually just did a few courses and become a mentor and become a facilitator. And I think listening to all of that, and for myself thinking back to when I was an athlete, what is it that I would have loved? What is it that I would have really enjoyed or taken my career further quicker than what it did? So that's kind of where the topic comes from, and thinking about the athlete side of it rather than just the coach's side of it, to try and bring the two together and to meet in the middle. So ultimately, mentoring and coaching is very different. One is short-term, one is long-term. The one is more about listening. The other one is more about the athletes trusting. I think today it was about every coach going out there and thinking about what is the difference between the two of them. So I don't want to give you the answers right now, but it is, where does their role fit in? Are they more of a mentor? Are they more of a coach? Do they need both within their roles? And ultimately, understanding fundamentally what are the differences, fundamentally what are the attributes that one needs as a mentor and as a coach, and understanding and taking it back to the simplistic facts often can become and make you a bigger coach, a better coach, a more holistic coach. I think throughout my career, I've had a lot of the coaching side, and the mentoring side only came in a little later. And so I think for me, it was more about how do I force myself, or how do I keep going? And I don't think the word force can come in there, but ultimately I loved what I did, and I really wanted to achieve what I wanted to achieve, and therefore I was a little hard-headed and was able to carry on, a little stubborn as well. But ultimately, it's important for each role to understand what their role is within the space of sport, and especially for high school coaches. You've got children who have come through, are now becoming adults. They've got so many decisions that they have to take. There are some athletes or kids at schools that now have to parent 4 or 5 of their siblings because there's no one else, or they have to go out and work. I think it's important for them to maybe able to spot those and able to see, when do I become a mentor, when do I become a coach, or when do I merge the two? And again, trying to get the best out of the athlete possible. Yeah, I think on the same level as what we spoke about today was for every coach to understand what their go-to role is. Are they a go-to coach, or are they a go-to mentor? Because, for example, growing up, I had a coach who I believed tremendously in. I believed in his programs. I believed in all of that. And there was one fundamental thing that I couldn't understand until I got a lot older, and that was that he was really harsh on me. And when I retired, 2 years after I retired, I plucked up the courage and sent a message and said, "Why were you so hard on me?" And he said to me, "But Natalie, you needed it." And I don't think he realized that I would go home crying. And my mom would say, "Don't worry, Natalie, it's okay, you can do this." And a lot of the time, the coaching gets undone because you assume a certain position, but that position isn't quite correct. So it's to bring it in and to mentor and to get the athlete to come up with their own answers for themselves, rather than just believing in and, at the end of the day thinking, am I not good enough because you're so hard on me? So that's just an example, but, and please, nothing to feel sorry for me about. I could handle it, and I was, I think, strong enough and stubborn enough to know what I wanted to achieve. And I was very fortunate that later on in my career, I was 23, 22 years old when I met some mentors that I think meant a lot to me. And that was, I think, where this hit home. And how a coach can double in mentorship and vice versa, because it's not about a mentor in the sense that I have to mentor you in, becoming something, but being a mentor in terms of how I handle the coaching side of it, or how I handle you as an individual and everything else that happens to you at home. So that is kind of, I think, the role that the mentor has within the side of it. And speaking about the those kids that come from townships and backgrounds that particularly, don't have a lot of money. Growing up, my parents didn't have money, and my coach actually used to coach me for free until the day I could pay him, and I could pay for my coaching. So ultimately, it's challenging no matter which way you look, but it's how do we best, I think, circumnavigate the challenges, and how can we get the best out of that specific person, no matter what their circumstances are around them.